My sister got pregnant by my fiancé, and my parents asked me if she could use my wedding. Same venue, same flowers, same menu, like I was just a canceled appointment. Hey, it's Is It Just Me stories? If you've ever felt like the outsider in your own family, this one's going to hit hard. So listen to the whole thing and at the end, tell me what you think. Because even now, I'm not sure if I went too far or not far enough. 3 weeks before my wedding, I was that annoying level of happy. 28 dream venue booked, dress hanging in my closet, 200 invitations sent, perfect Pinterest life loading. And my little sister? 23, pretty chaotic, the family hurricane. We were never close, so when she said yes to being my maid of honor, I thought, wow, maybe we're finally growing up. Spoiler, we were not. It was a Thursday night family dinner at my parents' place. Nothing weird until I walked in. My dad wouldn't look at me. My mom was wringing her hands. My sister had this weird, defiant face like she'd already decided she was the victim. We sit down, we start eating, and then she stands up, puts her hand on her still flat stomach and says, "I'm pregnant." Silence. Then, "It's your fiancé's." And, "We've been sleeping together for 6 months." 6 months. I remember the sound of my fork hitting the plate, my mom gasping but not defending me, my dad telling me to calm down while I'm falling apart, and my sister? Blank. No shame, no remorse, like she just announced what dessert she wanted that night. My ex called me 73 times. I didn't answer once. My parents kept saying, "These things happen." No, you forgetting your anniversary happens. Your sister getting pregnant by your fiancé does not just happen. And then they did the part that still makes me feel sick. They used my wedding. They kept the venue, the florist, the caterer. My mom literally called and said, "Since everything's already arranged, do you mind if your sister just uses your plans? It would be such a waste to cancel." Did I mind? I minded so hard I could barely breathe. 2 months after my wedding date, my sister walked down my aisle in a white dress, pregnant with my ex's child at the garden I chose, with the flowers I picked, eating the menu I designed. My family smiled in the photos like this was beautiful and not a horror movie. 3 people refused to go. My aunt, my cousin, my grandma. Everyone else? All in. I spent that day alone in my apartment drinking wine, staring at the wedding dress still hanging in my closet. My mother called later and said, "You're being selfish. You're making your sister's pregnancy about you." That's when I understood they didn't just handle it badly. They chose her over me. So I made a choice too. I blocked them, moved to another part of the city, and for the first time in my life I was truly alone, and somehow that hurt less than staying. The next few years were ugly. Therapy twice a week, just trying to get through a day without replaying that dinner. My therapist kept asking, "Do you want to work toward forgiveness?" And I kept saying, "No, I want to work toward not thinking about them every 5 minutes." I buried myself in work, got promoted, started traveling. I built a new life, brick by brick, and honestly, I was building it on anger. And then I met Owen. We were at a work conference in Seattle. He made me laugh, like real laugh, not the polite, "that's so funny" laugh. He didn't ask about my family. He didn't bring up kids. He just saw me right there as I was. We did long distance for 8 months. He was patient, steady, the opposite of chaos. When I finally told him the whole story, we were on his balcony at 2 a.m. I was shaking, waiting for him to flinch or judge me or say it was too much. He just held my hand and said, "You rebuilt yourself from nothing. That's not broken. That's extraordinary." He proposed on a random Tuesday while we were cooking dinner. No big speech, no kneeling in a stadium, just, "Do you want to keep doing life like this with me?" And I said yes. We got married in Italy. Tiny ceremony, 12 friends, no family. I sent my parents an invitation not because I wanted them there, because I wanted them to know they hadn't ended me. They didn't come. My mom called to say my sister's marriage was going through a rough patch, and they couldn't abandon her. I hung up. I wasn't abandoned. I was free. 2 weeks later, I was still replaying that dinner over and over. Therapy was full, Owen was exhausted, and I had nowhere left to pour the poison. So I did what thousands of people do when they need to scream into the void. I went online. I found an anonymous support forum for people estranged from their families. No real names, no locations, just stories. I wrote mine, left out names, cities, specifics, just, my sister stole my fiancé. My family stole my wedding, and 4 years later, they still expect me to smile. I hit post. People flooded in. You did the right thing. Your family is toxic. You owe them nothing. It felt good. Too good. I checked that post every day like it was a scoreboard for my pain. 3 weeks later, my aunt called. Lindsay, is that story online about you? My blood ran cold. Turns out someone recognized enough pieces, connected dots, and dragged the story out of anonymity into my hometown. Everyone knew the stole the fiancé, stole the wedding story had a face now. My sister's. She lost her job first, then friends, then her in-laws. People whispered in grocery stores, at school, church. She became that woman. I listened to every update with this dark satisfaction. I told myself, this is justice. Then 2 things happened in the same week. My sister tried to sue me for defamation, and I found out I was pregnant. Her lawsuit went nowhere. No names, no lies, no case. My test showed 2 pink lines. The thing I'd cried over for 2 years was finally real. I should have been floating. Instead, I was stalking gossip threads about my sister and Owen. Finally said, she's still controlling you, just from the bottom instead of the top. I wanted to deny it, but then I saw her son, my nephew, at the grocery store. He was older now, thin, tired. My mom was counting coins, buying the cheapest food. Later, I heard my sister was so desperate she started selling explicit content online. And then that leaked too. Her photos spread everywhere, and suddenly her kids were being bullied at school because of what their mom had done. I watched one of them sobbing in the parking lot, 7 years old, destroyed by a mess he didn't make. And for the first time, the revenge didn't feel good. It felt sick, because my post had been the first domino. I didn't upload her pictures. I didn't tell her to do that, but I did light the match. Around then, my son asked me, Mom, what's an aunt? I told him, it's your mom or dad's sister. He looked at me and said, do I have one? And without even thinking, I lied. No, you don't. That night, Owen looked at me and said, you're becoming what you hate. And it hurt because it was true. I had spent years watching my sister destroy me, and now I was destroying her from a safe distance and calling it justice. That's when my dad called again. Your mom has cancer, stage 4. They're giving her months. She wants to see you. I froze. Years of anger met one ugly truth. Time was running out for her, for us, for this entire mess. I went back to therapy. New therapist, new mess. She asked me, what will haunt you more, going and getting hurt again, or not going and never knowing? I hated that question because I knew the answer. So I agreed, one visit for me, not them. The day I went to the hospital, I got there early, sat in the waiting area trying not to shake, and then I heard it. Grandpa, I'm scared. My nephew's voice. My dad was with him, and beside them, my sister. We locked eyes. Neither of us was ready for this. My nephew looked between us and said, who's that? Then he stared at my face, at my dad's, at hers, and said, you're my aunt, aren't you? I could have lied again, but I just said, yeah, I am. Why haven't I met you before? Because your mom burned my life to the ground and I tried to burn hers back, but all I said was, it's complicated. He thought for a second and said, did you and Mom have a fight? I almost laughed out of shock. Yeah, we did. But you still love Grandma even when you fight, right? Kids have this way of cutting straight to the point. Yeah, I do. A few minutes later, my dad said, she wants to see both of you. My sister whispered, you go first, I'll wait. And I surprised myself. I'll go with you. We'll go together. We walked down that hallway side by side, not talking, not touching, just two women dragging years of wreckage behind them. My mom died 2 months later. We'd seen each other a handful of times, talked about safe things, never the big thing. I don't know if that was healing or just a ceasefire at the funeral. My sister and I stood on opposite sides of the grave after everyone left. It was just us. She said, "I destroyed everything I know that I don't expect forgiveness." I told her, "I became you. I destroyed you back. That post, the one that went viral, that was me." She said, "I've been paying for what I did every day, but my kids, they're paying too, and they didn't choose any of this." We stood there crying on either side of our mother's grave. I handed her a letter I'd written months earlier. Not forgiveness, not a hug-it-out moment, just truth. "Read it later when you're alone." And I walked away. 3 years have passed. I send money quietly for the kids through my dad. She doesn't know how much, just that it appears when school starts, when shoes are suddenly too small. She works a warehouse job now. She's in therapy trying to be someone else. I'm still in therapy too. I'm still married to Owen. Our son is older now and he knows he has cousins and an aunt. He just doesn't know the story yet. My dad turned 70 this year. We both showed up, me, Owen, our son, her and her 3 kids. The room went quiet at first. Then the kids did what kids always do. They found the toys, made up a game, and became friends. My nephew came up to me and said, "Hi, Aunt Lindsay. Your son is cool. Can we be friends?" I said yes. My sister and I stayed on opposite ends of the room. Later, out in the yard, we both watched the kids play. She said quietly, "Thank you for the money, Dad. Told me my therapist says I have to learn to accept help, so thank you." I said, "It's for them, not you." She nodded. "They don't know any of it about us. I haven't told them. I haven't told my son either. Maybe they don't need to carry it. Maybe they can just be cousins. We're not sisters. We may never be. I don't forgive her. Not yet. Maybe never. But I'm done letting hate be my whole personality. So now we're something in between. Not family, not enemies. Just two broken people trying very hard not to pass the damage to the kids. So now I'm curious, if this were you, your sister, your fiancé, your family, would you have gone to that dinner? Posted the story online? Seen your mom before she died? And do you think revenge ever really feels as good as we think it will? Tell me your thoughts in the comments, because honestly, sometimes I still don't know. Is it just me, or was walking away never really an option?